Your AC system has a condition right now that you have no idea about. And most likely the technician that was at your house last, he had no idea about it either. This condition is killing your efficiency, reducing your system's lifespan, it's costing you comfort, and it's polluting your air quality. And that is called static pressure. My name is Jared Cry with ASAP HVAC, and in this video I'm going to tell you what static is, why it's costing you money, and what you can do to fix it. Every time you go to the doctor's office, what do? They check your blood pressure, right? And they say, blood pressure is the silent killer. And that's true. Something else that's true is static pressure is the silent killer of your AC system. And it's something that you should check, just like your blood pressure, every time you have a technician visit your house. Static pressure is a measurement that we can take as AC technicians that'll tell us if your airflow is where it should be or not. And airflow is something that's very important that nobody really ever talks about. If your ductwork isn't designed right from the very beginning, it's never gonna give you enough airflow. Your system may be a 5-ton system, but if you have 3 tons worth of duct on your system, you're never gonna get your full capacity out of that system. So it's really, really important that your ductwork is designed properly, and one of the ways we can measure that is with static pressure. I'm gonna run through a list of things that can happen to your system if you have high static pressure, and all of these things are costing you money in one way or the other. So if you have high static pressure, one of the main things it can do is burn up your blower motor. Your blower motor's spinning all day long, whether it's in cool or in heat, trying to pull in air through the return and push out air through the supply. It has to push through a heat exchanger, it has to push through filters, it has to push through evaporator coils. So there's a lot of things restricting that airflow, all increasing the static pressure. So if your ductwork isn't designed right, then you're never gonna get the right amount of airflow, and then that's gonna increase your static pressure dramatically. So not only is your motor having to work harder, so it's using more energy, it also has to work so hard that it could be burned up in a year or two. A brand new motor could be burned up in a year or two. So if you're going through motors every 2, 3, 4 years, you could have a high static pressure issue. Another thing that could happen when you have high static pressure is this heat exchanger could get too hot and it could crack. And then this is in the wintertime when you're running your heat a lot. Without proper airflow going across that heat exchanger, it's gonna get too hot, it's gonna cause some stress fractures potentially. There's gonna be areas of that heat exchanger that get a little too hot. And it could potentially crack or at least get a weak spot. And a cracked heat exchanger is not something you wanna deal with. Could introduce carbon monoxide into the airflow, which definitely not a good thing. Something else that could happen with high static pressure that could be costing you more money and definitely more headache is your AC is pulling air through the return, right? And if the static pressure is higher, then it's gonna have to work harder. And when it's working harder, it's gonna be pulling air, hot, dirty air from your attic into the little cracks in your ductwork. Even if your ductwork's sealed up, then it's gonna be a lot less, but there's still gonna be some cracks that shouldn't be there. Anywhere there's a joint or anywhere there's tape or mastic has the potential for dirty air to get pulled into that system. And it's even worse whenever you have a high static. So you're gonna be pulling dirt, humid, hot air into your return. And then if you don't have a filter right here, and you have filters in your ceilings, then it's not gonna be filtered air. Now if you do have that filter there, it'll at least be filtered, but then you're gonna have to change your filter out a lot more. So if you have to change your filter out more than normal, I would say more than every 3 to 6 months, then you probably have a high static issue. So when you pull air in through these little cracks and crevices into the return, whether it's filtered or not, if it gets through the filter, it's gonna cause this blower wheel to be even more dirty. It's gonna cause this heat exchanger to be dirty. And it's also gonna cause this evaporator coil to be more dirty than it already would have been. And when you have more dirt, then the evaporator coils get wet, removing humidity, and then that's why you have a drain line. Whenever there's dirt getting washed off with that condensation in your drain line, it gets clogged up, overflows, goes into your ceiling, it's a bad day. Even if you have a ceiling saver or a float switch, it's still gonna cause your system to shut off. You're gonna have to give somebody a call, and it's just a bad day. The last thing we're gonna talk about here and what could happen whenever you have high static pressure is arguably one of the most important, and it is definitely one of the most expensive. So when you have a high static pressure, low airflow, something that could happen is your liquid refrigerant does not get evaporated in the evaporator coil, and that liquid is going back to your compressor, and you cannot compress liquid, so it's going to shatter those scrolls inside of your compressor, and ultimately your compressor is not going to be pumping properly because there's too much liquid going back. And the reason that happened is because you don't have the right airflow, and you don't have the right airflow because your ductwork wasn't designed properly. You have a really dirty coil, you have a dirty heat exchanger, you have a really dirty filter, all signs that you have high static pressure. So this is something that can be prevented with proper design and proper maintenance. And if you have any more questions, let me know, message me, leave a comment, I'll get back to you. If you need ASAP HVAC, let us know. We're always here to help.